taking regular household items that we have laying around the house and thinking about the different uses, not necessarily what it was intended for, but different uses to use in a survival situation. And we've done a number of these, and they've been very popular because it really is expensive when you're trying to prep and you're trying to get your stuff together, and being able to use things in redundance, having a lot of different ways to use things is just smart. So we're going to take a look at extension cords, and there's a few things about extension cords that you need to think about. In an SHTF situation, you may be running power from a generator, and you need to have the correct cord to be able to handle the amps. That can cause a fire, and using a small little household cord like this is really dangerous, and these can melt and again cause a lot of damage. Having a really good cord. Now, the one downside to having a really high amperage cord, a really heavy duty cord, is that the cost is pretty expensive. But it's a small investment considering that you could burn your house down. So one of the first things you need to consider is its intended use of transferring power, whether it's from an outlet in your home to get something to outside, or maybe you have your generator and you need to run power over a long distance, maybe even up to 100 feet. And so finding the right cord is important, but to me, finding the best, heaviest duty cord is just smart thinking. And obviously here we have a number of different cords and different sizes. We're not going to really get into that. I mean, you can check that out at Home Depot or Lowe's, but we're going to look at different ways to use these for survival. Now, if you're like me, I have a lot of these old small cords that we use, and they're just two-prong, and a lot of times, they're just in a bucket. They're pretty cheap, actually. These are great. Don't throw your cords away, even if the ends are burned or whatever, because these can be used for cordage. Now, one of the things about cordage is, there's a lot of different ways to use it, and we've gone through them, and I'm going to show you a few examples. But one of the things about a small, lightweight cord is that it is insulated, so it's covered and it's fairly comfortable, but it's thin. And so with really a lot of heavy weight, this is going to be a lot more difficult than it would be a large, thick cord. But the problem with real thick cords is they're not as bendable. They're not as flexible. Really important thing to consider is buying extra plugs for your cords. Plugs can burn out, they can have issues, and so having a couple of sets of good plugs set aside, and this one actually has been replugged. I mean, these are new plugs that are on here, and because these are on heavy use, and you can even see these have the little bit of a burn, and being outside or having really hard use, having these plugs, typically they're pretty inexpensive, and just having a few sets around is a good idea. Now, of course, you can use it as is, or we can cut it, and there are fibers inside. Of course, this one can be used in twos. So I have two cords now that are insulated, or I can get right down to the wire inside. I can twist this up and make it stronger using just this wire, or I can actually, if I need to get really detailed, I can open this up and to be able to use these strands individually. The thick wire definitely comes in handy for a lot of uses, but if you can get that down to these really thin pieces, you can do very detailed work, such as fixing eyeglasses, and eyeglasses could be very important if you need them. Being able to get the nose piece or the arms back on, and it looks a lot better than duct tape. Plus, it holds up better. Now, with your heavier cord, it typically has stronger, solid copper cables. Here you can see the three separate strands. Now, this just happens to also have the wrapped strand, which really makes it strong, but you can definitely just use this cord as well, and again, it gives you more comfort. And if you don't damage the inner tubing, you could actually use this to siphon and things like that. You could even use it to cover over things, to insulate. So there's also uses for the cover itself. Now, we have 4 outlets here, so chances are you're going to be spread out quite a bit. And having multiple extension cords is really going to help, because you don't want everything just based right around your generator. So good, heavy, strong gauge, really important, and it'll help transfer more of the energy as well. Now, with this bucket, I have this metal handle, and I can carry things around. With this bucket, the handle is gone. There are holes that I can use, but it's going to be real difficult to pick it up this way, especially with a fairly heavy load. Now I've got a handle for this one that's comfortable, even if I'm carrying wood, water, or whatever. Or I can wrap this metal handle with the cord, and because of the insulation, it's really comfortable, and it actually thickens my grip, makes this much easier to carry. If I have my backpack full, I need to add something to it. Let's just say this little pouch. Here I've got it strapped to my pouch. It may not be pretty, but it's gonna hold it. If I really want to get secure, I can strip this wire and use the wire. It's a little more solid when you knot it up. If you have a strap to break on your backpack, which could be catastrophic in a bug out situation, you can take this more solid wire. It'll be a lot better than using the extension cord. And this metal together is gonna be a lot stronger. That way, I've got some strength, and at least that'll get me where I'm going. Using it around a tree to be able to get your pack off the ground, especially if you're camping or sleeping. And then hold it into place. Having a tarp, especially with eyelets, being able to use it as a tie down. You know, yeah, rope is going to work better, or bungee or whatever, but you may not have it. You may have a lot of things you're already tying down, and this just gives you another option. Using the cords to tie down your tarp to make a little lean-to, or you could make just a flat shelter if you can find a number of trees. It'll definitely get you out of the rain, or it'll get you out of the sun. Because of the strength of these cords, it could actually be used as a tow rope if you really get it strong in here. Of course, on this trailer hitch makes it really easy. Get yourself stuck in a place, you'll be able to tow it out. Lowering heavy objects may not be this short of a distance, but it could be down into a pit or something like that, especially if it's really heavy, like water, something that, you know, when you get it down to somewhere where somebody can grab. And with your really long extension cords, you have a lot of room to drop this down wherever you need to. One advantage that the extension cord has over rope is that the rope can weaken. It can, you know, it's a fibrous material, and it can weaken and get wet and things like that. With the extension cord, you're going to have a longer life, shelf life, be able to keep this handy, and it still remains strong. You've got that rubber, the metal, and it really makes a good combination. Of course, these can be used as a lifeline. Somebody falls into the river, throw it out, pull them in. Somebody falls into a pit, you can help them out, or you can lower them down according to what the situation is. Speaking of which, you could probably restrain someone with these as well. So anything that a rope can do, this electrical cord can pretty much do it. I mean, there are going to be some limitations because of the flexibility, but really overall, this is an excellent survival tool. So hopefully this will get you at least thinking about extension cords, and before you throw those old cords away, you can use these for cordage. So the extension cord for SHTF, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. Looks like I need to break out my extension cord wire and hook me up a nose piece.